There's alien dust on Earth! Hey, curious kids, Kevin here. Today on A Place Called Space, we are talking about the asteroid samples that just landed on Earth. The Japanese Space Agency, or JAXA, launched their spacecraft named Hayabusa 2 6 years ago on December 3rd, 2014, and sent it towards asteroid Ryugu. That's how you pronounce it, Ryugu. Now, Ryugu is the Japanese word for Dragon Palace, and is the name of a sea-bottom castle in Japanese folklore. Ooh, that sounds adventurous. Now, Ryugu was 300 million kilometers, or 190 million miles, from Earth. So Hayabusa 2 didn't get there until 3.5 years later, on June 27th, 2018. Then it spent 1.5 years orbiting around the asteroid, studying it, looking for the right place to land that would be able to sample safely. So Hayabusa 2 actually landed twice and took samples in 2 different spots. For the first one, once it touched down, it fired a small bullet to kick up some of the dust and pebbles to collect on the surface, because the surface here is really rocky and hard. Now, for the second one, this one's crazy. Hayabusa 2 actually fired a cannonball from above to make a 10-meter diameter crater. Why? Well, scientists wanted to get to some older rock underneath the surface. And we think Ryugu's surface is about 4 billion years old, but underneath could be as old as 4.6 billion years old. Now, after collecting the 2 samples, Hayabusa 2 left asteroid Ryugu in November 2019 and headed back towards Earth. Upon arrival, Hayabusa 2 sent the capsule down to Earth while it stayed up in space. The capsule, or treasure box, as JAXA is calling it, landed safely in the Australian outback, Australia right here, on December 5th, 2020. This is only the second asteroid sample return. In 2010, JAXA brought back samples from another asteroid called Iwakawa using their Hayabusa spacecraft, which is why they named this one Hayabusa 2. Now, NASA brought back some samples in 2016 with their Stardust mission, but those came from a comet, Comet Wild 2. Scientists and engineers are thinking they collected maybe about 1 gram of Ryugu dust. That seems like nothing, right? That's just like 6 coffee beans worth of an asteroid. We did all of that just for this? But scientists only need 0.1 grams, about this much right here, to do research with, to do the analysis on. So these samples are going to be sent to 6 different science teams around the world. So this is pretty cool. Like, we were able to do this. But why did we do this? Why did we do it? Well, I mentioned before that the rocks of Ryugu are 4 to 4.6 billion years old. And that is how old our solar system is. Asteroids are the leftover building blocks of our solar system. We can study them to learn how a giant cloud of gas and dust turned into the planets that we have today. Also, asteroids may have brought the water to Earth. That'd be crazy, and possibly even crazier, some of the organics, the building blocks of life, to allow for life to rise and eventually turn into us. Now, we do have asteroid meteorite samples, the little rocks that come in and then land on Earth. But we want to see if there's anything new that wasn't burned up as it entered our atmosphere, since we have it in a protective capsule this time that landed in Australia. Also, we don't really fully understand how asteroids move. They're out in space orbiting the sun, and learning more about their composition can help us with that, to avoid an asteroid impact by possibly deflecting the asteroid out of the way so we don't end up like the dinosaurs. Scientists will study those samples to learn about more information that could one day save Earth. And as for Hayabusa 2, well, it's going on an extended mission to visit a couple other asteroids. Now, on to trivia. The answer to last week's question of, in mythology, what is Mars the god of? Is A, war. This week's question is, where is the only other place we've brought samples back from besides asteroids and a comet? Is it A, Mercury, B, Venus, C, the moon, or D, Mars? Tune in next week to get your answer. Always be curious.